The Panthers, Brain Trust. We need to come up with a name for Dave Canales and Dan Morgan, and it needs to be like video game level, not video game, comic book level, like the duo of something. The Brain Trust. It's got to be something. We'll workshop it.
I can work on that.
We'll workshop it.
I can do that.
Thank you very much, Dennis. But whatever they are, the two of them spoke to the media today at the NFL Combine. It's the first time we've heard from them on a public scale since their introductory press conference a couple of weeks ago. So, thought we might get some more substance, right? Maybe a little less alignment. Maybe a little less coach speak excitement, and a little more like actual, hey, here are the things you need to solve, so how are you going to do it? And obviously it starts with Bryce Young. Here's Dave Canales on how it isn't just fixing Bryce Young.
No plan to fix Bryce Young. I think for me, it's about building an offense that we can be proud of, something that is tough, something that is smart, that takes care of the football. Number one, we got to create more explosives, and then of course we have to minimize damage with exotic pressures and things like that. So I think just elevating the whole group and really asking Bryce to just do his part. And that kind of, without getting really into the specifics of it, but I have had a lot more chance to really dive into some film since the last time we've talked, and so I have a specific plan. Can't wait to put that into play. But again, we're not talking about a guy that there's a big fix for, really. You're looking at an accurate player, a really smart player. He's aware of what's happening, and we got to build the whole thing around him, the whole offense around him, of something that we can really say this is our identity and our core.
I think we're in a trap of semantics here, right? It isn't just fixing Bryce Young. It's leveling up the entire offense around him, which some might say would fix Bryce Young, right? I think it's a level of how you're describing it, right? Well, we have to put players around him so he can only do his job. Okay, well, guess what? Him having a less on his plate might be the thing that allows him to play faster, might be the thing that allows him to make better decisions. It's whether you call it fixing Bryce Young or you call it fixing the offense so Bryce Young can operate within it. Either way, it's going to look like Bryce Young got fixed, right? It's You say tomato, I say tomato. You say it's not fixing Bryce Young, I say it's fixing Bryce Young. They should write a song about it. And the funny part is, he goes on to say he has a detailed plan for Bryce. Let's hear that part from Dave Canales talking to the media today.
Between Will Harriger and I, and of course Brad Idzik, but Will Harriger's our quarterbacks coach, comes to us from the Dallas Cowboys, and he and I have just been sitting down and we're just kind of mapping out, just a really detailed report. I take it back to Brian Schottenheimer when he came to Seattle, and he launched me on a project. He said one of the things he did for Andrew Luck, for Phillip Rivers, for Drew Brees, is before he had a chance to meet with them the first time, he had a detailed plan about how to improve the things necessary to play quarterback at a high level. And he showed me the report. He showed me the cut-ups that kind of went with it all. And then he challenged me. He said, you will earn another level of respect with Russell by approaching it from a detailed standpoint. So we're really working on that. I really respect Bryce and the road that has taken him to here. And I want to be able to present something to him that's tangible, that's specific, and says, hey, here's some things that we can really dive into and improve on. Here's things that you're doing great. So we'll have a great plan when he comes back to us in a couple of weeks.
So just to be clear, it's not about fixing Bryce. It's about fixing the whole offense around him. However, I will have an extremely detailed and specific plan of things that we can do to get him playing better.
Both can be true.
Both can be true, and I think it's just how you word it, right? I think it's just how you word it, and it is understanding that it all starts with Bryce, right? And that's not Bryce specific, that's football specific. Your offense starts with the quarterback, so the detailed plan to get him playing better, the offense being fixed around him, it all starts with Bryce. So that's where they need to start, and it sounds like they're going to be really, really well prepared to do that.
And also, using the term fixing Bryce implies that like he's broken. That's the thing. It's like, okay, he just wasn't maximized as a rookie because of
it's a verbiage
list of things.
Yeah,
it's a verbiage thing. Okay, like fixing and getting the best out of somebody are two different things.
Especially when he hasn't met with them yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's like he doesn't want Bryce hearing, oh, my coach is at the combine telling everybody I'm broken.
Yeah.
It's like, so
like fixed. I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's part of it. I think it's just a semantics thing. I think he's thinking of ways to make sure the offense and the quarterback that we saw last year is not the offense and the quarterback that we see this year.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to say that's fixing it, he'll disagree with you because he doesn't like the way that sounds.
And Canales spoke about it a little bit more during his presser about how that was something that they did in Tampa last year, was really maximizing everything that they had. And it's taken what they have, finding that limit, and then pushing it even further. That's like truly maxing out potential of what you have with your team, which is what any good coach does in any sport.
And you know, we've had this conversation where it's, you know, we are allowed to have the fixing Bryce conversation because, you know, Bryce, you know, if he's listening to us and holding it against us, he's hearing the wrong things.
Yeah.
He needs to be more tunnel vision than that. But what I mean by this is, when we talk about us having the fixing Bryce conversation, sometimes it is not Bryce specific. It's not like, oh, his footwork is atrocious. Sometimes it is, he needs a little bit more time as a young quarterback, so we have to spend on the offensive line to give him a little bit more time, and that can be the thing that unlocks him. It's very similar, you know, Dennis, I know you're aware of this, former athlete, and I have buddies, and I am a former athlete that deal with it. You know, sometimes it's like my hip hurts.
I was at the chiropractor today.
And then it ends up being like, well, actually it's your knee, right? Or actually it's your back. And then you fix your back and all of a sudden your hip feels fine. It might be like Bryce didn't look good last year. Well, actually your offensive line hurts, right? You fix the offensive line, then all of a sudden your hip's going to start feeling better. Like it can be that, but it's still like the symptom you're treating is the hip pain, right? The symptom the Panthers are treating is Bryce Young isn't looking good enough. Right, he was a number 1 overall pick, and he was not nearly the number 1 overall pick quality last year. That doesn't mean that all of your focus is going to be treatment on him. Some of it's going to be treatment on other parts of the offensive ecosystem, which might allow that pain to go away. And I think that is, again, it's just all verbiage. It's how you're talking about it, but the goal is the goal. It's to get the offense and get Bryce playing better than they did a year ago.